Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello students, welcome to the second PUC English online classes. In the last class, we had seen the dead earth worldview, how the living earth is considered as dead and how it was treated. And also we had seen the opinion of Francis Bacon, the father of modern science, and also the opinion of the historian and a philosopher Caroline Marchand. In today's class, let us see what nature teaches. What nature teaches. Here, what Vandana Shiva tells us about the nature, let us see. Today, at a time of multiple crises intensified by globalization, we need to move away from the paradigm of nature as dead matter. So, here we need to move to an ecological paradigm, and for this the best teacher is nature herself. So, here we have to change our attitude or our attention from nature as a dead matter towards, we have to change it towards nature as a living thing. And here to turn or to come to that opinion, nature is itself the teacher to the human being. Nature is a teacher to the human being. It teaches what is good, what is bad, and also it teaches us culture and practices also. Whatever practices, culture that we are practicing, we are clearly influenced by the forest. Now, what Vandana Shiva tells us? She tells that the Earth University teaches Earth democracy. She speaks about Earth University and she calls this whole earth as the university. Why it calls as university? Because nature is the teacher, and what nature teaches us, let us see. The Earth University teaches Earth democracy, which is the freedom from all species to evolve within the web of life and the freedom and responsibility of humans as members of the Earth family to recognize, to protect and respect the rights of other species. Earth democracy is a shift from anthropocentrism to ecocentrism, and since we all depend on the earth, Earth democracy translates into human rights to food and water, to freedom from hunger and thirst. Here, Earth University, it means not only the earth, but also she calls her Navadanya farm as Earth University, because from her Navadanya farm she wants to spread a message to the human beings or all people of the world that Earth is a university and it teaches us Earth democracy. What do you mean by Earth democracy? Earth democracy in the sense we have to give the equal importance to this earth and the creatures on this earth. So, here it is freedom for all species to evolve within the web of life. Who are evolved within this web of life? All the species, even it may be the insect. So, we have to give the freedom to all the species who are involved in the web of life, and the freedom and responsibility of humans. What is the responsibility of human? Being a responsible or being a wise, the responsibility of human beings is, as a member of this earth family, it is to recognize, to protect and respect the rights of other species. As a human being, as an intellectual, as a brilliant, as a genius and as a wise human beings, It is the duty of every human being to protect, respect and to recognize the right of all the species. In the sense, man is not only the superior, all the species which are evolved in the web of life, they have the equal rights on this earth. And here earth democracy, that means it is the shift from anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. Anthropocentrism in the sense man centered. We have to change our views from man centered towards eco-center or ecocentrism, towards nature or environment. And since we all depend on the earth, earth democracy translates into human rights to food and water, to freedom from hunger and thirst. So, here not only it translates human rights to food and water, but also freedom from hunger and thirst for all, not only for human but for all. Because the Earth University is located at Navadanya, a biodiversity farm, participants learn to work with living seeds, living soil and the web of life. Participants include farmers, school children and people from across the world. Two of our most popular courses are the A to Z organic farming and agroecology and Gandhi and globalization. Here what the Earth University, especially the Navadanya farm teaches. Navadanya farm is a biodiversity farm. There are different types of crops or different types of crops are grown. So, here who are the participants? They are not only the farmers but also the school children and the people from across the world, especially the participants of this Earth University, this Navadanya farm or this biodiversity farm are mainly the farmers. Then school children also they visit to the farm or Navadanya farm for the study, and also the people across the world, even they come to the farm to know the importance of biodiversity. Then what are they learning in this biodiversity farm or in this Navadanya farm? They learn A to Z organic farming. A to Z organic farming in the sense, here they need not to use the chemicals or fertilizers, especially here by using the organic or manure they can produce or they can get the a very good and healthy crop. Then agroecology and Gandhi and globalization. So, these things the participants from the biodiversity farm or the Navadanya farm or the Earth University, they are studying. Then next Vandana Shiva, she was also influenced by the forest, the poetry of the forest, that is by Rabindranath Tagore. The Earth University is inspired by Rabindranath Tagore, India's national poet and a Nobel Prize laureate. Tagore started a learning center in Shantiniketan in West Bengal. India as a forest school, both to take inspiration from nature and to create an Indian cultural renaissance. The school became university in 1921, growing into one of India's most famous center of learning. Today, just as in Tagore's time, we need to turn to nature and the forest for lessons in freedom. So, here Vandana Shiva, she tells in her essay that she was influenced by Rabindranath Tagore's Shantiniketan, that is the forest school. Both it take inspiration from nature and to create an Indian cultural renaissance. So, this school became an university in 1921. Here what was Vandana Shiva tries to say that how she was influenced by poetry of the forest. Let us see. In his essay Tapovan means forest of purity, Tagore writes, Indian civilization has been distinctive in locating its source of regeneration, material and intellectual in the forest, not in city. India's best ideas have come where man was in communion with the trees and rivers and lakes, away from the crowds. The peace of the forest has helped the intellectual evolution of man. The culture of the forest has fueled the culture of Indian society. The culture that has arisen from the forest has been influenced by the diverse processes of renewal of life which are always at play in the forest, varying from species to species, from season to season, in sight and sound and smell. The unifying principle of life in diversity, of democratic pluralism, thus became the principle of Indian civilization. So, here in this paragraph which is taken from the book Tapovan, this tells us about how forest is important in every human being's life, or even in every practices of human life, and also whatever man has learnt the knowledge, especially that is from the forest. So, here it is said Indian civilization has been distinctive in locating its sources of regeneration, material and intellectual in the forest, not in the city. Whatever they had located, that is in the forest, not in the city. India's best ideas have come where man was in communion with the trees and rivers and lakes, away from the crowds. The best ideas whatever man has discovered, maybe the fire, maybe the scientific techniques, whatever it may be, it has come when the man was in contact with the forest, trees, lakes or stones or whatever it may be, not with the crowd. And the peace of the forest has helped the intellectual evolution of man, especially if we can see Buddha or Mahavira, they have got the evolution or the enlightenment in the forest, not in the city or not in the crowd or in the temple. The culture of the forest has fueled the culture of Indian society. So, the culture of the forest has fueled the culture of our society. Then, so here the culture that has arisen from the forest has been influenced by the diverse processes of renewal of life, which are always at play in the forest, varying from species to species. There is difference from species to species, from season to season, in sight and sound and smell. So, by learning all these different aspects, man has learnt wise things or some of the brilliant ideas he had got. The unifying principle of life in diversity, of democratic pluralism, thus became the principle of Indian civilization. So, unifying principle of life in diversity, the unity in the forest or between the living things in the forest, that has influenced the Indian civilization. Then it is said that this unity in diversity, that is the basis of all ecological sustainability and democracy. So, the unity in diversity, there should be unity, it may be different things or different types of people or different species, but there should be unity, there should be understanding or there should be adjustment between each other. Then that is the basis for both ecological sustainability and democracy. Diversity without unity becomes the source of conflict and contest. So, here diversity and unity both are important. Without one, it leads to the imbalance. This is true of both nature and culture. If there is no diversity, if there is no diversity and only unity, then it leads to the conflict and contest. And if there is only unity and no diversity, then it becomes the ground for external control. So, this is true both the nature and culture. The forest is unity in its diversity and we are united with nature through our relationship with the forest. So, we are united with the nature through the relationship with the forest. In Tagore's writing, the forest was not just the source of knowledge and freedom, it was the source of beauty and joy. Forest is not only the source of knowledge and freedom, it is also the source of beauty and joy. You can find beautiful things, beautiful sceneries or beautiful moments in the forest, and also it leads or it brings you a kind of joy to your mind. Of art and aesthetics, of harmony and perfection, it symbolized the universe. So, all the knowledge that we get from a forest, it symbolizes the universe, and the forest teaches us union and compassion. Especially these are the strong feelings of sympathy, compassion especially. So, these are very important in every human being to live with the to live with the other species or to live with the society or with the world. The forest also teaches us enoughness. The forest teaches us enoughness, especially the people are greedy, human beings are always greedy, but here the forest teaches us enoughness. We should not be greedy, whatever is needed that only we have to get. We should not conserve or preserve it for our future or for any other purposes. As a principle of equity, how to enjoy the gifts of nature without exploitation and accumulation. So, forest teaches us how to enjoy the gift of nature, whatever the nature has given, that we have to enjoy. We should not exploit it or we should not accumulate it. We should not have try to have control or power over the things which are given for us, especially for example water or this forest or any other natural sources. Tagore quotes from the ancient text written in the forest. Know all that moves in this moving world as enveloped by God, and find enjoyment through renunciation, not through greed of possession. So, here what the beautiful lines quoted in the book, that is, know all that moves in this moving world as enveloped by God. So, whatever here on this earth is there, that is enveloped by God, and the human being has to find the enjoyment through renunciation. Renunciation in the sense rejecting or denying, not through greed of possession. Man should not be greedy. He should not always ask, or he should not always expect. He must say enough. If I get enough, then it is enough. Should not be greedy for anything. Then only we can get the enjoyment. Otherwise, if you become greedy, it leads to the disasters or devastating end. Then, no species in the forest. No species in a forest appropriates the share of another species. Every species sustains itself in cooperation with the others. So, every species on this earth that sustain itself in cooperation with the others. And here Vandana Shiva tells us that the end of consumerism and accumulation. Consumerism in the sense it is the protection or promotion of the interest of consumers. In Kannada, if I say, it is Kollubaka Samskriti, we say. Always it is the aspect of possessing. And accumulation. Accumulation in the sense storing is the beginning of the joy of living. When we end this taking and storing, okay, this consumerism and accumulation, when we say stop to that, that is the beginning of the joy of living. That day onwards we live a joyful life. The conflict between greed and compassion, conquest and cooperation, violence and harmony that Tagore wrote about continues today. and it is the forest that can show us the way beyond this conflict. So, here the conflict between greed and compassion, conquest and cooperation, violence and harmony, all are opposite. Okay. So, there is a conflict between these two, and still it is there whatever Tagore referred in his essay, and it is the forest that can show us the way beyond this conflict. So, only the forest can bring us out from this conflict, because forest can teach us enoughness, it can teach us compassion, it can teach us harmony, it can teach us unity, and also it symbolizes universe. So, only the forest can bring us when the human beings realize the importance of forest, and when the human being realizes that forest is necessary, or environment is it is an important, and man is an inseparable, or he cannot be separated from the nature. When man realizes this truth, he can lead a good and happy life. This is what Vandana Shiva, she is trying to explain in this essay, and we must understand the deep message from this essay. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.